There are certain ages that can shape your retirement, certain income decisions that can impact your future, and certain planning mistakes that families often don't discover until it's too late. Today, we're going to walk you through a retirement roadmap designed to help you prepare for what's ahead. Welcome back to another edition of the Financial Game Plan with Kirk and Trevor Bergen of Bergen Financial Group. You can give them a call at 830-224-0844. That's 830-224-0844, or go online to bergeninvest.com, where you can go in and get a retirement plan where the guesswork is taken out and get a map for the play-by-play part and get everything that you need to figure out how to get to, through, and beyond retirement. So before we dive into all of today's topics, let's catch up with the family, Kirk and Trevor Bergen. Guys, how are we today?
Hey, we're doing great, John. Excited
Great to be with you today, John.
Always looking forward to coming in here today. Now, I found a story online that made me think of you guys, where some families mark a milestone with cake. And here's one that waited decades for oysters. There's a restaurant in Alabama that kept a quirky promise alive for nearly a century. If you turn 80 and walk in with your father, the meal is on the house. So for years, the Rushes, Jimmy and his 99-year-old dad, Jim, talked about whether they'd line it up. And this year, as Jimmy turned 80, they did.
Every year we ask them about the sign, and they tell us every year we're waiting on us to come in. So it finally happened.
We had oysters, we had for everybody there, and we really had a good time.
We finally did it. We had a great party. I don't think I could have had a better 80th birthday.
Now, this family, Kirk, as they circled on the calendar 80 for decades. But in retirement world, there are a lot of important ages. So let's go over some which actually matter the most and why, because these are things easily that can get overlooked and create a little bit of a problem down the road.
Yeah. That's a great story. That's neat. I hope that I can be one of those guys, one of the older guys when my kids turn 80. And in fact, I hope I can experience that with my dad. My dad is 88 right now.
That's awesome.
So, I'll be 80 in 20. I don't know if that's possible. When I turn 80, I'm 60 now. So Dad, I don't know if he can make 108. He might not be able to make that far. But anyway, that's neat.
Life expectancy keeps going
Yeah,
up.
it does.
Is it true?
That's true. Well, yeah, there are a number of ages that are important in the retirement planning business, if you will, and I'll go over a few of those. First one I want to mention is at age 50, the way 401ks and IRAs are set up, you can do catch-up contributions at age 50. Age 55, this is one that a lot of people don't know about, and if you still have a 401k in place at an employer, you can begin to take out income without a 10% penalty tax if you're pulling it from a 401k. Can't do that with an IRA. So, for some people, it makes sense to keep that money in a 401k if they're planning to retire early or planning to retire, in their mid-50s or so. Sometimes having a 401k in place rather than an IRA does make some sense in certain situations like that. 59 and a half, most people have heard of this. That's the age that you have to be in order to be able to pull penalty-free withdrawals from retirement accounts, and that would include traditional IRAs and other types of accounts like that. 62, earliest Social Security eligibility. So some folks can start taking Social Security as early as 62. And if you do that, of course, you're going to take a reduction in benefits. It's going to be a significant reduction. So it's important to understand what the ramifications are of taking Social Security at 62. For some people, it makes sense. Some people, it doesn't. There's not a right or wrong answer. It just depends on the situation. Medicare eligibility is at age 65, and that's something that folks really need to be prepared for and are not prepared for more than not. And that's understanding that you need to apply for Medicare before you get 65. Typically, 2 or 3 months beforehand is the best scenario there to make sure everything's in place properly and you have everything set up the way it needs to be with regard to Medicare. Full retirement age these days is anywhere between 66 and 67. That's in order to be able to pull your full retirement age benefit. So that's something that you can do and continue to work. Once you are considered full retirement age, for example, at age 67, you could make $1 million a year in your job and not take any type of a penalty to Social Security. You don't have to take any reduction in benefits. You can get your full retirement without any worry there. So age 70 is as far as you can go as far as deferring Social Security. Everybody has to take Social Security. If they've qualified for Social Security, if they've put in their 40 quarters in earnings, then everybody has to take Social Security at age 70. That's as far as you can go. And if you do that, if you wait until age 70, there's an 8% increase every year in benefits from 67 through until age 70. So there's an 8% increase every single year. And then finally, required minimum distributions. If you're born before 1960 and you haven't started RMDs yet, you'll be able to you will have to start taking RMDs at age 73. If you're born 1960 or after, it's now the calendar year you turn age 75 is when RMDs do begin. So those are some important ages. I think there's 9 or 10 of those that I just mentioned that everybody needs to be aware of. And if you're not aware of them, then you need to learn about them. And we talk about all these ages to our clients when we're doing the retirement planning process.
But now, Trevor, okay, I'm going to tell a little about myself here. I don't always remember my wedding anniversary, so I'm not 100% sure how many years I've been married some years.
Yeah.
So much less trying to keep up when I should do things like this. So if I'm working with you guys, are you able to help give me reminders, or am I just kind of hanging out there on my own? Because let's just face it, how many people are aware that at 65 they should be thinking about Medicare? They're not even thinking about that portion. So when I come in and I meet the family and I'm sitting down with everyone, are you guys able to help me in any way to just remember, okay, these milestones are coming up? Because at the end of the day, if I don't have proper Medicare, I could be creating a whole different set of issues.
Yeah, absolutely. And 65 is a really important date when it comes to, having Part A and also getting Part B as well established. And whether you're working or not, you may not need Part B, so you can definitely decline that. The other thing is depending on the size of your company, and a lot of people don't know this, and it can really put you in a bad situation that could cause you penalties for the rest of your life, that, if your company is not big enough and you're part of a healthcare plan that is not qualified and you don't get Part B because you feel like you are covered by your employer, you can look up and get a medical bill, and the insurance company will not pay it because they rely on Part B first. And that's happened to people before where they don't go to the doctor very often or anything like that, and then something major happens and they have a heart attack and they think they have credible coverage. Well, in reality, the health insurance is there for the backup after Part B pays, and if they never signed up for Part B, then the insurance company is not going to pay anything because they rely on Medicare at that point. That's only if you're with a company with not enough employees, but you can even be an employee and not realize that your health care is actually not a qualified, credible coverage. So that's definitely important. But yes, we like to go through ages with our clients, talk to them about that, make sure at age 50, hey, you do have catch-up contributions. We're not limited to the normal limits that you've been accustomed to. A big one, John, that really sticks out to me, what some people call the only half birthday that ever matters in your life, right? And that's 59 and a half. And, I see a lot of people that have 401ks. They've been with their employers for 30 plus years, and they think there's nothing I can do because all my money is in the 401k. I'll have to wait to talk to somebody until I retire. Well, that's false, because most 401k companies allow you to do what they call in-service rollovers when you turn 59 and a half. Being able to do that allows, professional money managers and financial advisors to help people actually set up their income strategies down the road. And something we really focus on is retirement income, and being able to use portions of your 401k. And this doesn't eliminate your 401k. You can still contribute to your 401k, but you can take money out of your 401k and maybe allocate it to certain strategies that can help produce that income in the future, help produce guaranteed income in the future. And sometimes when we wait till 65 or when we separate from our employer, we don't have that capability to do that anymore. So 59 and a half is a very important birthday. Not only can you take out money without penalty, but you are also able to take money from your 401k and do an in-service rollover and allow a professional money manager to help you, come up with a game plan in the future.
No matter what age you are, you want to make sure that you have these all committed to memory. But the easiest way is go in, meet with the Bergens, sit down, have a conversation with them. Because here's one cool thing if you haven't picked up on it. I say meet the family. It's father and sons. And we're missing one member of the team, their other son, brother, Chase. He's not here, but that's what you have. So if you're starting now that long-term relationship, if you're looking to have a long-term relationship, you start off with Kirk, you're going to meet Trevor, you're going to meet Chase, you're going to meet the entire family, and they're going to be there for the length of time that, you're with us.
Yeah.
So you have the whole family that's there.
Don't forget Joel.
And Joel as well. I forgot about. Sorry, Joel. But you have everyone that's there, and you have that longevity. So in the scenario where you might be working with an advisor, and you're thinking, well, man, he's looking like he's pushing 80. Who am I going to be working with next? You start off with Kirk. You just move right over to Trevor.
Yeah. I've been in this business 35 years, and we've been fortunate to be able to build a pretty large base of clients now. And they really have become like family to us. We get to know our clients very well. I know we've talked about that before. They know my wife, Robin, very well. They know my children. They knew my kids before they got in the business. But now that they are in the business, it's really a nice situation, John, because, our folks that come in to see us, they come in and they're really they're there to see the family. They're not there just to see me. They're there to see Trevor, Chase, Joel, my wife, of course, Robin. And that gives them some peace of mind to know that, hey, there is a succession plan in place here. I plan to keep working as long as I possibly can. I enjoy it. I enjoy getting up to go to work every day and hanging out with my kids and helping folks, helping our clients and seeing them. But, the reality is the reality. And it's at some point there will be a point where I will back away. And we have these boys. I call them boys. They're in their mid-30s and approaching late 30s now, Trevor. And these guys are so good, and they love our clients, and our clients know that. And so it's really, really nice to have the setup that we have. Every single person, there's 7 of us, John, that work in our office, and all of us are related. We're all family. Every single one of us is related. In fact, it's a prerequisite to go to work for us is you have to be related to us. And so anyway.
And this happens over and over and over. But when we're meeting with clients, I didn't know this at the time, but they're at my wedding. Hey, I saw you at your wedding. And with the Christmas cards, they see our family growing. It seems like every Christmas card, a new grandchild's been introduced on the Christmas card. But
we got number 8 coming in about 2 weeks.
Yeah, Chase is expecting here in a couple of weeks. But some other really things that, it gives me chills when I walk into a client's house and you look at the mantle above the fireplace and there's pictures of all their family members. And then all of a sudden you see the Bergen Financial Group picture on their mantle. And I can't tell you how many homes I've walked into that are pictures on their, fireplace or it's on their refrigerator. And it really makes you feel good because as we think of our clients as our family, they also think of us as their family. And I think that's really important.
And that's the key part. You guys hear me say it. It's not a cliche. It's not just something that's on a piece of paper. You're literally going to meet with the family. You're going to sit down. You're going to have a conversation with the family. And they want to get to know your family. You want to sit down. You want to talk to them. You want to go and meet the family. Come in with your entire family. Have everybody that's there so you can have all the questions answered and everything that you need going in there. Give them a call, 830-224-0844. That's 830-224-0844. Now, I want to talk about family a little bit more here because I found something on social media. So Eddie Murphy, he has a Netflix series, and he's a successful actor and comedian. But what you probably didn't know is he's financially covered the funerals of celebrity friends of his like Red Fox, Rick James, and William Thomas Jr., also known as Buckwheat from the Little Rascals. And let's hear him talk about it.
I love Red because when Red kicked out, I had to bury Red. I had to bury Red. I had to bury Rick. I bought Buckwheat a tombstone. Buckwheat didn't have no tombstone. I'm always burying these people. It tripped me out, these people in show business and all that. Then when they pass away, it's not even no money to bury these people.
This lets us know a sombering thing that estate planning isn't just about how wealthy you are. It's about leaving an order instead of the confusion for your loved ones. And when you meet with clients, how often do you find that their estate documents are out of date or, Trevor, they're just missing things altogether?
Oh, gosh, John, it happens all the time. I would say more often than not, we have clients come in and, one of the very first questions I ask people when we start talking to them about their retirement plan is, hey, have you done estate planning? Do you have powers of attorney set up? Do you have your wills set up or revocable living trust? Do you have that all put together? And more often than not, the answer is no. And that's scary, right? Because if you haven't gone through it, if you have a close family member that does pass away and they don't have a will in place, it causes a headache for just about everyone involved. Not only do you have to hire attorneys, you have to, like Eddie Murphy was saying, have that money set aside to set up the funeral arrangements. And maybe your father had this idea and he wanted to be buried at home or, buried somewhere else. And you don't know that because it's not written anywhere, right? And that may be something that he's always kept to himself and thought, hey, one day I will get my estate planning done. I will get it all put in place. An accident happens. And more often than not, I would say even the younger people, your families that are in their 40s or 30s that have children that don't have estate planning in place because we're not thinking about dying at 30.
Correct.
But unfortunately, car accidents happen, things happen that are completely out of our control. If you don't have that put in place, and if you have minors, I mean, that's even worse, right? If you have minors, who's going to be the guardian of your children, right? And if mom and dad are on date night and something happens to them, all of a sudden, who are the children going to go to? Do you have that set up? So estate planning is very, very important. I would argue that it's one of the most important parts of retirement planning and just financial planning as a whole. So that's something that we definitely help our clients with and guide them in the right directions on the best ways to do that. But, estate planning can go from there. It can go from making sure financial power of attorneys are very important. Healthcare documents are very important. In this world, life can go by so quickly and we never know when we're going to die. So having that set up is super important.
And beneficiary arrangements, making sure your beneficiaries are set up the way you want. And, those should be checked from time to time to make sure that they're still the way you want them to be. A lot of folks have a desire to do some planning that would involve legacy planning, making sure that maybe certain charities benefit from, money that you've set aside for that purpose. Life insurance, of course, is a big one. Making sure that there's enough money out there for final arrangements. Eddie Murphy talked about, having to help bury some friends of his that had to buy a tombstone, had to pay for a funeral. If a person, they may not have, millions of dollars, but if they at least have done some planning and have some money set aside for the explicit purpose of their final expenses, funeral arrangements, things of that nature, that could come in the form of a life insurance policy for that purpose, for example. It takes the burden off their loved ones. It takes the burden off their remaining family to have to do all that when they pass away. So it's important. Life insurance planning is important. All the estate planning parts are very, very important.
Yeah,
and that's what we help our folks
And beneficiaries are really important too, because if you don't have your beneficiaries set up and you have all your bank accounts with no beneficiaries set up and you don't have a will in place, well, the burden that you can put on your children is if you do pass away and maybe you do have money in your accounts to be able to pay for that, well, they're not going to be able to access that money quick enough.
That just happened. This past week, we have some client that passed away, and even though we had spoken many times about the importance of making sure all of their financial accounts were set up as payable on death, and they certainly were with the accounts that they had with us, at the bank, there was a significantly large savings account and checking account that was not set up as payable on death. Now, I think they believed that it was. They told us that it was when we would inquire about that and make sure that all of your bank accounts are set up as payable on death to a beneficiary of your choosing. The fact remains that this client passed away a couple of months ago, and their beneficiary, who thought that account had been set up as payable on death to them, found out when they went to the bank that it was not. And so that money is now not available to them. There's delays involved, an attorney's now involved. It's going to have to be probated. Even though there was some estate planning done, certainly, because that bank account had not been set up as payable on death, it has now created delays in the passing of that asset on to the beneficiary. So, even though I'm sure that our client believed that it was set up, it's important to just revisit the bank occasionally. We talk when we do our reviews with our clients. We go over beneficiary arrangements, make sure that that's exactly what they want to have in place. If there's any changes that need to be done, we can do that for them. So
I'll give you one more example. We had a couple in, and they're in their 40s or so, and the wife had set up her 401k prior to getting married, 15, 20 years ago when she first started out her employment. Well, her beneficiary was her mother, and she had never thought to change it. And she had a significant amount of money in there. If something were to happen to her, the account holder or what have you, the beneficiary is her mother. Talk about a headache for the husband, right?
Well, it's what the worst one, though, is when a divorce happens and the beneficiary is the ex-spouse.
Yeah.
And I've never had that happen to any of our clients, but I've heard horror stories from people that have told me about situations like that where there's a divorce and the ex-spouse gets the $1 million life insurance death benefit, not the current spouse. Can you imagine that situation? So real important. 401k beneficiaries, life insurance beneficiaries, all of the accounts need to be set up that are able to be set up as payable on death, which is all bank accounts, brokerage accounts, IRAs, Roth IRAs, all qualified plans that employers can be set up with beneficiaries in place, bypasses probate. When you have that set up, none of the assets have to go through probate. When you have it set up as payable on death to a beneficiary, they don't have to go through probate. And in most cases, once a death certificate is presented, that money can be switched over in the name of the beneficiary literally within a couple of weeks. It's that fast. And instead of having maybe 3 or 4 months, which is going to be the case for this lady that I mentioned a while ago, her beneficiary.
You know, I've heard basically a proper estate plan is the final I love you. It's the final way to say to your family, I love you, because here's a sombering fact. GoFundMe, the crowdfunding source, it hosts over $125,000 fundraising for funerals per year. That's how many people are walking around without a life insurance plan, where someone's just trying to bury someone, get a headstone. You're already at a point in your life, you're sad, you're mourning, you're hurting. Give that final I love you. Make sure you have all of that in place. That's a portion of it. You have the money for retirement. You put aside for that. You hear me say it often on here, to, through, and beyond, that beyond portion. Now, if you want to set the final to go up to charity, or you just want that last check of yours to bounce at the pallbearer, whatever that case may be, you want to make sure that you do it the way that you want to do it. And if it's saying to your family that I love you, and having everything in place and having everything that's there to honor you, the work that you've done, whatever you've done, you want to make sure you have a plan in place. You want to reach out to the Bergens and sit down, have a conversation with them, talk with them, get that in place. Meet the entire family, go in, have a great cup of coffee, build a relationship with them, so then you can start to make bets on how many grandkids you'll end up with over the course of the next 10 to 12 years. But you reach out to them, 830-224-0844, or go online at bergeninvest.com. Guys, as always, I love coming in here. I feel all the warmth. I always feel welcomed when I come in here and get a chance to sit down and talk with you guys. But thank you guys for joining us, each and every one. Go back and listen to some of the old portions of it. If you know someone who's serious about retirement, thinking about retirement, or you just want something entertaining, you'll hear all the great conversations that we get to have. Guys, as always, I thank you so much.
You bet.
And before we get out of here, Trevor, I want to give you the final word, sir.
It was a great time talking to you today, John. I really want to say, hey, if you don't have your estate planning done, go talk to somebody or come talk to us, and we can help you, get with someone that can help you and make sure all your beneficiaries are set up. I think that's really important. We never want to, be in a position where your loved ones aren't getting what you wanted them to.
Investment advisory services offered through J.W. Cole Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor firm. Registration is not an endorsement by securities regulators. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities, offered through Trevor Bergen, NPN number 210-46585. The firms are separate entities. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company and are not offered by J.W. Cole Advisors, Inc. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Bergen Financial Group is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Bergen Financial Group is licensed in your state, please call 830-224-0844.